Bro, I love Ted Ed. You can cut all the flowers, but you cannot keep spring from coming. Pablo Neruda. That's fire, dog. You can dig up all the flowers where they will never bloom again. But spring's still gonna come, baby. It's still gonna get warm outside, baby.
Every year, before the ancient Greeks sowed their seeds of grain, they celebrated
The Greeks
Demeter,
were some
the
cool cats
goddess
for
of
real.
agriculture. On Earth,
Shout out
each
Demeter.
morsel of food was sweet sustenance, while in the land of the dead, it ensured a permanent stay.
What?
Demeter tended to Earth's fields with her beloved daughter
That was a
Persephone,
little
who inherited
creepy.
her
That's
mother's
just a little
passions
curveball.
and grew into a bright young woman. But all the while, a
Shout out
shadowy
Persephone, dog.
figure watched from below. One day, Persephone was frolicking in a meadow with the freshwater nymph Cyane. As they admired a blooming narcissus flower, they noticed it tremble in the ground.
A
Suddenly,
narcissus
the
flower.
earth split, and a terrifying figure arose. It was Hades, god of the dead and the
This is a
underworld.
fire cartoon.
He
I
wrenched
love
Persephone
cartoons.
from Cyane, dragged her into his inky chariot, and blasted back through the earth.
What a dighead,
Cyane
bro.
wept so hard she dissolved, becoming one with the river. By the time Demeter arrived at the scene of the abduction, the crater in the meadow had closed, and Cyane and Persephone had vanished.
That's wild,
Demeter
bro.
sped to Mount Olympus for help. Many of the
Hey,
gods had witnessed the
Dad.
scene, and they knew about the deal that paved the way for it. Zeus, Persephone's father, had granted Hades her hand in marriage without her consent, or Demeter's.
Why?
But when faced with Demeter's pleas, the other gods stayed silent. So
Why
she
did Zeus
searched
do
alone.
that? Why did he pimp his daughter out to the king of the underworld? That seems a little fucked up. I'm not gonna lie, dog. What was Big Zeus's plan for that? Because like I'm not really one to question, like his godliness or whatever, but like I feel like that's a little fucked up. I'm not gonna lie.
In her grief and desperation, she neglected her usual tasks.
This is
Crops
fire.
withered, and a great famine plagued the earth. As mortals began to perish, the gods grew wary. Who would worship them and offer tributes if the humans disappeared?
Facts.
So, Zeus ordered Demeter to stop her crusade and return to her duties.
Nah,
But
bro,
she
give me my daughter
refused.
back.
Deep below,
Wild
across
ass
the
bitch.
frigid river Styx, and through the halls of the underworld, Persephone was waging her own protest. Hades expected her to serve as his wife and queen. But Persephone rebuffed the gods' advances and refused food. As she longed for her mother's company, her friends' laughter, and the sun's warmth, Persephone grew colder and lonelier,
Facts. I
and
feel
she was
this.
starving. She hungered
feel
for
this.
satisfying grains, crisp vegetables, and fresh fruit.
Her
Wandering
mama,
the
bruh.
ghostly
She want her
gardens,
mom.
she contemplated the pomegranates that hung heavily on their branches. Meanwhile, Demeter continued her hunt. She appealed to the all-seeing sun god Helios, whose rays had long warmed her crops. Indeed, when Helios drew his golden chariot across the sky that fateful day, he saw what happened, and he knew of the deal.
What
Out of
deal?
respect and sympathy for Demeter, Helios told her of Hades' demands, Zeus's betrayal, and Persephone's abduction.
Bro,
Furious and heartbroken,
what was the
Demeter
deal,
sped to
dog?
Mount
What
Olympus
did
and
Zeus get in
confronted Zeus,
return?
demanding their daughter's return. But Zeus declined. In her ravenous hunger, Persephone had eaten a few seeds from the pomegranate that grew in the underworld. Though a meager amount, it was enough to ensnare her in Hades forever. Demeter wouldn't accept this fate. She swore that if she wasn't reunited with Persephone, the fields would never be fertile again, and the distinction between the earth and the underworld would soon dissolve.
Facts.
So, they made a
That's
pact.
crazy, bruh.
For 2/3 of every year, Persephone would return to the land of the living, but for the remainder, she would stay in the world of the dead. When Persephone ascended to Earth, She and her mother
Hey,
rejoiced.
shout out
Together they
Persephone.
showered the fields with rain and nurtured them with sun. For mortals, Persephone's arrival came to herald the start of spring.
Thus
But her
the quote at
descent
the beginning.
always
Spring
came
will
too
come.
soon. Each time she returned to Hades, Demeter mourned, and the earth grew cold, dark, and unyielding,
Which explains
ushering
why
in
winter is so
winter
cold.
months. Knowing Demeter couldn't be roused from her grief, the humans stored their crops, stoked their fires, and awaited Persephone's safe return. And so it was that her transit marked the gradual turning of the seasons and the bittersweet compromise between life and death.
Dang.
Escaping the underworld is no small
Oh, there's
undertaking,
the
but it's been
Sienna.
done.
That's fire. I really like mythology because there's something about mythology that's like a really, really like direct connection to human psychology. And we didn't start studying psychology, actually, like writing it down and really studying that shit until like the 1950s or something, like literally the 20th century. And so the fact that the Greeks and even before that, Mesopotamians, the Egyptians were writing mythology that was very, very, very tapped into human psychology is kind of a little creepy, dog. It gives me like goosebumps thinking about that kind of idea because how are they on it so quick and what like pushed us off the trail? Like did Christianity like actually slow us down by 2000 years? It like took us 2000 years to get back to where we already were. That's a little weird to me. That's kind of creepy. I hope you have a good rest of your day though. Peace out.